And we'll start in the corpse pose, setting our intention. Let me get my mic. Setting our intention for this practice. Focus on what you want to bring into your life and what you are needing to let go of to allow that change and shift. We're going to hold this corpse pose for a minute while we set our intentions. And then we'll prepare to do 5 deep belly breaths. Hands on your tummy like you're filling a balloon with air or you're 9 months pregnant. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth 5 times. And 5, release. We'll continue to hold this corpse pose. Continue to visualize what it is that you're wanting to cultivate into your life and what it is that you need to eliminate from your life. And then we're going to rotate the neck slowly to the right side. Rotate the head and neck back to neutral. Rotate slowly to the left side. And then back to neutral. When we're done with that, we will hug our right knee for several breaths. You can engage the foot, flex your heel, rotate your ankle, point your toe. Continue hugging that knee, paying close attention to the micro movements and the compression in your right hip.
My handy dandy strap. Okay. Back on track here.
Then reach for your strap, getting the ball of your right foot into the strap. Straighten out your leg. Pull that leg a little closer to your chest and hold there. You can bend that knee, you can straighten it, you can do a little bit of both. Pulling that leg a little closer to your chest and hold. And then we'll bring that leg out to the right side with the strap or without if you like for a half straddle. We'll hold the half straddle for several breaths. Get that right leg back down onto the mat, switching your legs to hug your left knee. Continue hugging your left knee. Also, there's the option to engage the foot, flex the heel, rotate your ankle and point your toes. While you're continuing to hug that knee, again, pay attention to any micro movements and focus on that compression in your left hip. Then we'll reach for the strap again, get it onto the ball of your left foot, straighten out the leg, hold it there. Again, you can bend the knee slightly if you wish, straighten it, a little bit of both. Pulling that left leg a little closer to your chest. Then we're going to hold the left leg out to the left side with or without the strap for the half straddle on the left side. Then lower that leg back down to the mat with both legs out straight, and you'll set your strap down. Stretch out long, arms straight overhead, and then hug both of your knees tightly. Continuing to hold your right knee, lower the left leg down to the mat, and then maybe with a bolster, place that right knee onto the left side of your body for the supine twist. Arms are in a T. We'll stay in the supine twist for a minute, keeping your drishti over your right fingertips. You have the option at any point in time to use your left hand to apply light pressure to your right knee. Really feel that stretch through your right rib cage and your right side. And then we will slowly turn the head to look to the left or opposite direction for 2 full breaths. Slowly turn the head and neck back to the right, and then back to neutral. Lower the right leg back to the floor, hugging in both of your knees together, head and neck towards the knees, rocking and rolling, and then lowering your right leg to the floor while continuing to hug your left knee. We'll bring the left knee across the body to place it on the floor on the right side for the supine twist with the bolster again. Again, arms are in a T. Keeping your gaze over your left fingertips. Again, you have the option to use your right hand at any point in time to apply a light pressure to the left knee. Then we'll slowly turn the head to the right, the opposite direction. Hold it there for 2 breaths. Then back towards your left. And then neutral, lower the left leg back down to the floor, coming out of the twist, Hugging both knees again, stretching the neck, rotating the ankles and engaging the feet, flexing the heels. And then we will get into butterfly, reclined butterfly with the bolster under our knees. Reaching your arms out wide to the sides. Make a rainbow motion with your arms and an arch overhead until your hands meet above your head for the steeple grip. We'll hold that stretch. Then slowly flap your butterfly wings down, arms at your sides, hands or palms are facing up, and then slowly moving your arms back up overhead, once again touching the fingertips to each other. With your arms overhead, outstretched, fingers and thumbs touching, stay in the butterfly pose for a few more breaths. If you do have a bolster, you can remove it at this point. And then we'll do reclined tree pose on each side. First, bring the sole of your right foot to the inseam of your left leg, keeping your hands overhead in prayer hands. You can opt to branch your arms out, goalpost, steeple grip, yogi's choice. Then simply switch sides, placing the sole of your left foot to the inseam of your right leg. Arms are still overhead in prayer hands or branching, cactus, steeple, T, whatever you please. Then we will reach for the strap. With the strap on the balls of both feet, we'll do legs up the wall. Knees can be straight or bent slightly. You can rock, you can wiggle. You can walk your legs, alternating the legs being straight and bending each one at a time if you wish. Continue to keep your left foot in the strap on the ball of your foot and place your right foot across your left thigh for reclined pigeon. Bend the left knee slightly is an option, or keeping it straight, or some of each, straight and bent. Feel that stretch across your glute. And then we'll switch out the feet, getting your right foot into the strap and your left foot across your right thigh for the other side. Again, option to bend the knee, straighten it, or both. Then lay flat, laying your strap down next to you. We'll do 3 B breaths. Fingers are on the eyes, your pointer finger, middle finger, and ring finger. covering your closed eyes. Thumbs are on your ear cartilage, pressing your thumbs down on that tragus, closing off the airway to your ears. Breathing in through your nose and out through the nose. We will hum low pitch as we breathe out 3 times. After that, turn yourself over slowly to the left or the right, flipping yourself over to lay on your front side, resting your head on your hands, laying on top of each other. We'll come up onto our elbows and forearms into Sphinx, hiking up your right knee with your right arm stretched out in front of you. With your left arm, thread the needle. Make any adjustments for this pose you need. As you get into this supine twist, get your right hand onto your right hip. You have the option of straightening the right arm, trying to lay it down flat on the ground with both shoulders flat, or keeping the right hand on that right hip. At any point, you can use your left hand to apply a slight pressure to your right knee, keeping your gaze out over your right fingertips. Notice the difference from the last supine twist, having gotten into the pose from an entirely different sequence of directives. Also notice the similarities along with the differences. When you undo the twist, rest your head on your hands again, laying them on top of one another. And then with bent knees, do a windshield wiper motion with the feet and calves, sliding back and forth before coming back up onto your forearms and elbows and hands into that Sphinx pose. Hike your left knee up to the left side with your left arm out in front of you. Thread your right arm through the needle. Then you can place your left hand on your left hip. Same as the other side. You can adjust yourself so that both shoulders and arms are flat on the ground in a T, or simply keep your left hand on your left hip. Option to apply light pressure with the right hand if you wish onto that left knee, keeping your drishti out over your left fingertips. When you are done coming out of that pose, rest your head on your hands once again, and in an exaggerated motion, really slide those windshield wiper feet and knees back and forth, loosening the hips out. Then we'll lower the feet to the ground, and we will send our hips back towards our feet into a wide-kneed child pose, using a bolster or a pillow to rest the torso on. Relaxing into this position, ragdolling the upper portion of your body onto the props, allowing the gravity to do the work for you, feeling the pillows support the weight of your torso, trusting that gravity and the earth will protect you and provide for you and keep you safe and healthy. When you're done, remove the props and then come to lie on the belly through a tabletop movement, and then back into the Sphinx on the forearms again. This time spreading your hands and your fingers out as wide as you can, and then turning your right forearm parallel with the top of the mat. We will reach back with your left hand for your left foot. Hold that half bow for several breaths. Then letting go, rest your head on your hands again, one hand on top of the other, and again slide those feet and knees back and forth, really moving your hips again in that windshield wiper movement. And then the same thing for the other side, back into Sphinx, spreading your hands and fingers out as wide as you can, then turning the left forearm parallel to the top of your mat, reaching with your right hand back to your right foot, holding for several breaths. Really feel that stretch. Then when you let go, both feet are back on the mat. And again, we will send our hips back to our feet, sitting on our feet in the child's pose. You can rest your head on a block for several breaths. We're going to stay in child's pose. We're going to walk the fingers and hands to the right edge of the mat, reaching towards the right corner for several breaths. Really feel that stretch in your left rib cage. Then walk your hands and fingers back to neutral. Then walking them over to the left edge of the mat, reaching for the left corner, holding that for several breaths. Feel the stretch across the right side and ribs. And then walk your hands back to neutral. We will come up into Hero's Pose, pausing there momentarily. And then swing your legs around in front of you for Staff Pose. Place a bolster and maybe stack some pillows on top of your legs to again ragdoll your torso over your legs. An alternative to this is that you can use the strap on the balls of your feet for the same type of effect here. We'll hold this for several breaths. Allowing the gravity to do the work for you. Allowing your props to completely support the weight of your torso. Envision tilting your hips slightly towards your feet and towards your toes. Then when we're done with that, we'll remove the bolster and pillows, keeping the left leg stretched out long, and bring the right foot to the inseam of the left thigh. Reach for those left toes with your left hand, holding for several breaths, reaching your right hand over those toes. Then we'll come up into a wide straddle stretch, leaning forward for a breath or two before switching it out to the other side. Left foot to the inner right thigh. Reach for those right toes with your right hand and reaching your left hand over those right toes. We'll hold this side for several more breaths. Stretch both legs out into the wide straddle again, leaning forward, reaching for your block in front of you or resting your forehead on two blocks stacked. We'll hold this for several breaths. Then we'll come into seated butterfly, holding both of your feet, soles together with your hands. Bend your neck and head towards your feet. Then bringing your head up to neutral, we'll twist our head to the right, back to neutral, to the left, and back to neutral. Then stretching the neck down, rolling slightly from side to side. You could have the option of making a full circle with your head in one direction, and then full circle with your head in the other direction, and then back to neutral before shifting the butterfly into easy pose, and then dropping your right ear to your right shoulder. You have the option here to use a light pressure with your right fingertips on your head. Then back to neutral. Then your left ear to your left shoulder with that option once again for the slight pressure with your left fingertips on your head if you wish.
I wish.
And then back to neutral. Again, turn your head slowly from side to side, first to the right, then neutral, to the left, and back to neutral. Now we'll bring ourselves into a wide straddle, leaning forward, maybe using the blocks in front of you to reach. You can also stack the blocks again to rest your forehead on. We will hold this for several breaths. you have your head stacked, resting on stacked blocks, you can really allow the blocks to support the weight of your head. And if you're reaching for your blocks, just allow gravity to support you.
It's called trust. And letting go.
Then you can pick up the blocks in each of your hands, reaching over for the left foot, maybe placing those blocks on each side of your left foot and holding that pose, placing the blocks, placing your hands on the blocks or reaching for your toes. Then you can pick up those blocks and place them on either side of your right foot, reaching over the right foot, resting your hands on the blocks again. And then coming back up to neutral. Our next pose will be bending our right knee over our left leg, which is out straight, twisting to the right, gazing to the back of the room, using the left elbow to leverage on the right knee.
Feels so good. I love this one. But I love them all. This whole routine is my favorite poses, my favorite stretches.
Really use that left elbow for the leverage on the right knee and keep your gaze on the back wall of the room as far as you can see. Then slowly turn your gaze to look towards the front of the room. And then slowly returning your gaze to the back of the room, all while continuing to leverage that left elbow on the right knee. And then we'll simply switch sides, bending the left knee over the right leg. Right leg is out straight. Gazing to the left back of the room. Continuing to leverage the right elbow on your left knee. Keeping your drishti back as far as you can see on the back wall. And then slowly we'll turn the gaze to the front of the room. Slowly turning your head and your gaze to the back of the room once again. Continuing to leverage the right elbow on the left knee. And then back to butterfly. Holding feet together, pressing knees towards the floor. Bending forward, your forehead towards your feet or the floor. And then coming up, keep your posture as if a string were being pulled from above, from the top of your head. And now we'll get into Lord of the Fish, bending the right knee over the left knee that is also bent, twisting to the right. Arm is back, left elbow leverages against the right knee, looking to the back of the room.
Lord of the Fish, not to be confused with a Lord of the Flies partay.
You can have your eyes closed, but continue that stretch as far as you can. Continue leveraging with your elbow on the knee. Then we'll turn the head slowly to look to the front of the room. Slowly back again to the back of the room. And then straightening both legs out for staff pose. Reaching your arms up to the sky, steeple grip your fingers, reach up tall, and then we will switch legs for the other side. Left knee is over the right bent knee, twisting to the left, right arm leveraging against the left knee, looking to the back of the room. Really feel that twist. Continue to leverage with your elbow on the knee. Again, you're welcome to have your eyes closed or open. Either way, turning your head slowly to be looking towards the front of the room. And again, slowly returning the head to be looking towards the back of the room once again. And then the head back to neutral and staff pose. Arms out wide, legs out front. Make like a rainbow arch, touching your fingertips overhead, and then reaching for your toes. We'll come into easy pose with cactus or goalpost arms for eagle arms. First, we will do the right elbow over the left elbow. Hands together, pushing elbows slightly up, bending neck down. And we'll undo the twist and spread the arms back out wide. To cactus, and again, eagle arms with the left elbow over the right elbow this time, pushing the elbows slightly up and bending the neck down. Then we will stretch our arms out wide to the sides, bringing them overhead in a rainbow shape to the steeple grip, sitting tall. Maybe a slight arch in the back. Stretch slightly to the right. then back to neutral, then over towards the left, and then back to neutral again, reaching up as high as you can. Then we will bend forward to reach for the toes.
Or reach for the floor anyway.
Before then laying down on your back. Plant both feet on the floor, knees bent. You'll probably want to hold a block or a pillow in between the knees and maybe another or a bolster next to you so that you can allow your knees to fall to the right. We'll hold this stretch for about a minute. Arms in a T, focusing your drishti over the left fingertips.
That movie, you guys, How to Rob a Bank, that is on Netflix. It just dropped.
And slowly you'll rotate your head to be looking out over your right fingertips.
Just dropped the day before yesterday.
And then slowly rolling your head, rotating it back to be looking out to the left again.
It just blew my mind because I was
Before rotating your head back to neutral.
I was in the area.
Then bring your knees back to neutral and then allow both legs to fall to the left, gazing out over your right fingertips.
Kind of makes our school look bad. They were like, Evergreen is for misfits, and I never saw it like that. Evergreen was for winners. Matt Groening was a student there until I started in '87. He dropped out to do his little Simpsons cartoon. Seriously. Actually, he first dropped out to do Life in
And we'll
Hell.
slowly turn the head to set your gaze over the left fingertips, and then slowly rotating your head and neck back to have your gaze over your right hand again.
But yeah, it's a small school. We didn't have a lot of famous
Then
people.
rotating the head back to neutral and the knees back to neutral.
But it was where
Remove
Ted
the
Bundy-
props, and then both feet will be flat on the mat again. Put your right knee over your left knee, allowing your legs to fall to your right. We'll hold this for a minute with our arms in a T, gazing out over the left hand.
So Evergreen State College Library was where Ted Bundy got one of his first victims, pretending to have a broken arm and asking a nice student to help him carry his books to his car. Disgusting. Absolutely gross.
Slowly turn your head and neck to the right.
Well, I guess we did have famous people, not at the college, but in Olympia we had.
Slowly turn them back to the left.
We had Mr. Kurt Cobain and Mr. Beck.
And then slowly back to neutral. Both feet flat on the mat, hugging the knees to the chest, rocking and rolling. Both feet flat onto the mat again for the other side, the left knee over the right knee, falling the legs to your left side. We'll hold this for a full minute with the gaze over the right fingertips.
There were some amazing professors there at Evergreen. I loved it. I loved my experience there. Beautiful campus. And that's where I met my husband. That was an unexpected bonus. I actually met him off
Carefully
campus.
and slowly rotate your head to the left. And then back to the other side. And then back to neutral. Hugging your knees one more time, rocking and rolling. And then if you would like to do the happy baby, this is your opportunity. You can rock the baby, maybe alternating, straightening, and slightly bending each knee. As we come out of that form, we'll lay flat and then reach for a block for supported bridge. We'll plant the feet firmly on the mat, lifting up the hips, placing a block under the small of your back on its lowest level, and then resting your hips on that block. We will remain in supported bridge for a full minute. While we're still on the block, we will do legs up the wall again with or without the strap. Remember what you focused your intention on with this practice at the beginning, what it is that you want to cultivate and nourish to bring more of into your life, and what it is that you need to relinquish and let go of in order to allow that to happen. At this point, we'll remove the block, and if it's in your practice, there's an option here for a shoulder stand and plow. Take a minute or two to do these, or yogi's choice, any stretch you would like. Or you could get into corpse pose early. That's where we'll be going next. If you want to continue with legs up the wall, whatever it is that you feel like your body needs right now. If you're in the plow, when you're coming out of the plow, as slow and controlled as you can with your chin tucked, try to lower one vertebrae at a time, rolling yourself down to the floor to then relax in corpse pose. We will remain in corpse pose for 3 full minutes. Here I will offer you a series of adjustments. I will first be pulling on the feet from below you, then adjusting each shoulder, standing over you, and then sitting down above you with my feet on each of your shoulders and pulling your head from beneath and giving you a little head massage. So if you would like that, just place a hand on your belly. If you have a hand on your belly, I will assume that you want the adjustments. If you don't have a hand on your belly, I will assume that you don't want the the adjustments. But if I misread your signals, just let me know as I go around the room and give each one of you this amazing adjustment.
It is truly an amazing adjustment.
So simple and so safe and so effective.
I love receiving it and I love giving it too. Something that's safe to try at home. But I can't really demonstrate it for you right now since it's just me. The pulling on the feet by the ankles, just kind of leaning back, like being low on the ground. I actually just like squat and then I grab the ankles and then I lean back. So it's a lot of my body weight pulling those legs out of the hip sockets. And then I step over and bring one hand onto one shoulder and then the other fingertips down around the shoulder blade and push that shoulder down. And then the other shoulder and grab that shoulder blade and push that down before then sitting on the floor above the head, putting one foot on either shoulder and pushing down with the feet and then getting the fingertips in the base of the skull and just like pulling as hard as you can. And you know, if it's too much pressure, I encourage my student to tell me, or if they want more pressure, they can tell me. And then as you're pulling, your fingers will just start to naturally slide up the scalp and kind of do
when you're ready to come out of corpse pose, you have the option to either roll to one side or the other, and then slowly and gently pushing yourself up to sitting. Or there's another option to rock slightly with your chin tucked, coming up onto your elbows, and then getting into staff pose. Either way, we will meet in staff pose. Reaching up, arms out, and arching up into the steeple grip for 1 to 2 breaths. Arching the back ever so slightly while looking to the ceiling. Then lean forward, reaching for the toes. Sitting back upright and getting into easy pose. With the hands on the knees, touching our pointer fingers to our thumbs, we will chant Om 3 times in a low pitch. Then stretching our arms out wide, arching them overhead into prayer hands. To acknowledge your insight and wisdom, you will touch your thumbs and knuckles to your third eye on your way to hands to heart. Then stretching the arms out wide again and bringing them overhead one more time. Touching fingers and thumbs to prayer hands, and then again tapping on your third eye, acknowledging your wisdom and insight as you come to hands over heart before bowing to close and seal the practice. And so it is.
Namaste.
Thank you kindly for practicing with me today. Have a very blessed rest of your day.
I hope you enjoyed it, and see you on the next one. Namaste.